What's going on, guys? This is Oliver from Response AI, formerly Response AI, and now a few different software tools, trycomb.com, getseer.com. And I'm obviously on a mission to help you guys, build and sell, hopefully, your first or second or third, whatever it may be, software product or SaaS, right? So I've got a lot of videos on my channel. If you guys are interested in building a software and scaling it and selling it for $1 million, then subscribe, because over the next sort of, 6 to 12 weeks, I'm going to be releasing constant content about building SaaS. And it's going to be for people who can code and can't code at all, right? So in this video, I'm going to be talking about how to actually get ideas, because one of the concerns with people starting a product is they're like, oh, I can code, I can market, I am excited about this, but I just don't know what to build, right? Or if people, they can't code, but they know how to use AI tools to code, that kind of thing. We talk about that a lot on this channel. You basically need ideas, right? And one of the main things that I want you guys to stop worrying about is having an original idea. So originality is overrated and execution is king, right? So the myth of this sort of novel idea is one of the most destructive narratives in sort of business, right? So history suggests that the most successful businesses are actually iterations, not inventions, right? So Google was not the first search engine, right? Facebook wasn't first social network. Obviously, if you've seen Social Network by David Fincher, popularly, Facebook was not its own idea. It was an idea, sort of modeled or stolen, whatever it may be. For B2B SaaS, this is especially true, right? So the key to building a profitable SaaS product isn't reinventing the wheel. It's finding a wheel that already works, making it better, targeting a specific audience, changing the pricing, making it faster, making it cooler, whatever it may be, right? And it means that you can choose an idea and slay the biggest dragon on day one, which is, will this make any revenue, right? So every single SaaS product I've ever made, I have found a tool that is already working and people are buying and thought, okay, I'll just make my own, right? And what that means is that you don't have to live in this horrible purgatory for 10 years of a product not making any revenue because you just didn't know if it would succeed or not. Now you can succeed by literally just copying what is already working, right? We can assume that if you have 10 competitors who are making money or have teams or have funding, then you'll at least make some money. Let's assume that you can make at least $1,000 from a software, right? So here's how to systematically find, copy, improve upon proven SaaS ideas with examples, philosophy, actionable tactics, that kind of thing, right? So copy someone, but do it better. So the Lindy effect clashes with the blue ocean strategy. So basically, the Lindy effect states that ideas or technologies that have survived for a long time will continue to thrive. Now, Jeff Bezos talks about this. He says that he builds software, or he builds websites, or he builds businesses based off of one question, which is this going to matter in 10 years, and what will not change in 10 years? So a lot of people are obsessed with what is going to change. Like, oh, AI is coming around. Bezos said, are people in 10 years going to want slower shipping, right? No, they're going to want faster shipping. Are people in 10 years going to want things to cost more? No. So those are two ideas, fast shipping and cheap items and cheap products. Those are two things that Bezos obviously is referring to in that example. Now, you compare this with the blue ocean strategy, which is that you create in uncontested markets by improving existing solutions, right? Existing solutions. So in other words, what we're going to be doing is taking ideas that have been around for ages. People like speed, people like efficiency, people like things to look cool and be easy to use. And we can apply those things to existing businesses and sort of industries that are boring and slow and old, right? So first of all, an example is that you can spy on Google Ads, right? So, for example, you can go to best tool for industry and you can analyze the 3 to 5 paid ads at the top of the page. So an example is, let's say you want to, you have an interest in scraping websites. You can use Python to scrape websites, or you can code scrapers, whatever, right? If you search scrape websites, it reveals all the tools that are running ads. So things like Octopath, PassHub, Firecrawl. All you have to do then is that those people, if they're running ads, they have money. If they have teams on LinkedIn, they have money. If they have funding, they have money. We know that your idea does not suck. We know that people are already paying for it, right? So you can build a cheaper, faster, or verticalized version. I'll explain what verticalization is later. So example is web scraper for realtors. So that's a quick, glimpse of what verticalization is. You build something for someone, not just web scraper. So you notice how Firecrawl is a web scraper. It doesn't say they're a web scraper for for marketing companies. They are a web scraper. However, Phantom Buster, they carved out their market by being a web scraper for marketers and salespeople. So you see how those things are different. What you can do is there's a few different websites. One of the things that I like is sassytrends.com. It's this free website where you can just look at fast growing SaaS companies, right? And if they're fast growing, guys, it means that they're making money, right? So that you can't be fast growing, with no revenue. You have to have been making money consistently to be fast growing. That's what growth is team and money and everything, right? So if AI meeting note taker is trending, or it's in the Sassy Trends, or it's on Google with lots of ads being sent to it, then you can build a niche version for therapists or lawyers or marketers, or you can build one that's faster, or build one that looks cooler, or build one that, any sort of degree of things, right? So Loom built a very similar product to Camtasia, but they focused on simplicity and what's called async communication. And they sort of marketed it to big sort of B2B companies. So like Salesforce or Zoom or whatever it may be, right? And they sold based on seats in organizations. And the result is that they've recently sold for 1.5 billion, right? So next step. You can mine Reddit, X, G2, whatever it may be, for alternative to gaps, right? So this is the Red Queen effect, which you can evolve. You can set things up so you evolve faster than incumbents. Now, quickly, guys, an incumbent is take a product and take the big player. That's an incumbent. So in other words, if you want to start a shoe company, who's the incumbent? The incumbent is Nike or Adidas or Fila or Reebok. You see how that works. So an incumbent is a big company that is the sort of main player, right? The thing is, these companies can't iterate as fast because they have loads of internal politics. They have so much money and thousands of employees. We, as the little guys at the bottom, we can make our riches by, taking their ideas and being cooler about it, and faster, stronger, cooler, whatever it may be, right? So in Alice in Wonderland, the Red Queen says it takes all the running you can do to keep in the same place, right? So in other words, businesses must evolve constantly to survive, and these large incumbents find it harder to do that because they're not agile. This can be your entry point and your competitive edge, because you can build a software product to compete with those tools that can flex faster. You are one dude in your bedroom or in your office building this. You can do whatever you want. There's no shareholders. There's no idiots saying this, that, or the other. You can't do this, you can't do that. You can do whatever the fuck you want, right? Now, you don't risk becoming too cumbersome because you're your own person. You might be a small team or just yourself. You can provide the value to the end customer by being better than a massive company. And you would say, understandably, how would I build a shoe company in the Nike example that's better than Nike? No one's saying you need to build it better or build it, bigger. They're just saying that you need to build your own shoe company that has your mark on it and has your flavor and has fast shipping or has a cooler look or listens to market feedback or listens to the customer, whatever it may be, right? An example is Salesforce, a CRM that lots of people accuse of being bloated with unnecessary features. It is. I've used Salesforce in sales roles. I've used Salesforce for my own companies. It sucks, guys. It is really, really good and intuitive. There's hundreds of features. But an example is that I just don't want millions of features and loads of bloat. I want a simple CRM. Now, if Salesforce is considered bloated, thus a market is created almost out of thin air for simpler, more minimalist alternatives, right? Attio did this, and now they're at multiple millions of dollars per year run rate. Look up Attio, guys. It is so cool. It's like a really cool looking, sexy Notion style, Airtable style CRM. And there's loads of AI stuff, but it's not bloated and ugly. It is cool. It is slick. It is sexy. It is lean. It doesn't have any fat. It's just cool, right? And now they're at millions of dollars a year. They didn't just implode at the first hurdle, like, oh, we're not going to start a CRM company because Salesforce exists. Oh, God. No, they didn't care. They were just like, let's make a cooler version of Salesforce. Close have done it as well. Close.com. Pipedrive have done it. There's hundreds of CRMs, guys, but they all look and feel and smell and sound different when you use them, because these companies are trailblazers. They're like, I don't care if other people have done this. Let's just make our own, right? I was at the train station. This is a true story. I was at the train station and I was overhearing two train conductors. This is in the UK, in England, right? I was overhearing two train conductors, the guys just sort of helping people on and off the train. One of them said, I overheard it because I was quite close and I was eavesdropping. One of them said, I want to start a hot tub company. He said, oh, on top of being the train conductor, whatever, having this job, I want to be I want to have hot tub, sell hot tubs, right? And the guy who is his friend, the other train conductor, they were both sort of just sat there like that, talking to each other. The guy said, it's already been done. It's already been done? Of course it's already been done. Like, there's thousands of people selling hot tubs, right? Why should that stop you? Why can't you sell better hot tubs? Why can't you install better? Why can't you run better ads? Why can't you give a cooler customer experience? Why can't you design your own hot tubs? I had to butt in. So I look like a fucking weirdo, man, because I was like, oh, I've just been listening to your conversation. But I said, guys, you can't be saying like, I prefaced it. I said, I've been running companies for a few years. I can tell you that the best way to do this, I can't believe I was just shouting at some dudes at a fucking train station, right? But I said, I need you to know that you can copy things, because hot tub business, who are you copying, man? Well, Mr. Hot Tub. Like, who started the idea of selling hot tubs? No one, man. It's ubiquitous. Like, people are just, I don't know. So I said, guys, you can start that business, right? Because there's not enough in the area that I was in England. There wasn't enough of those companies. Like, if I wanted one, I wouldn't know where to go, right? And I should know where to go, because that means that marketing is not prevalent enough. I said, there is a gap here, guys, because English people are like, they do like a hot tub, right? There's a lot of people I know who have hot tubs. And I said, you cannot just implode the first hurdle. Like Attio didn't. Attio didn't go, oh, we want to start a CRM, but oh, it's already been done, man. Jesus, you can't be doing this, guys. You've got to choose ideas and not care that there are existing incumbents, So, actionable steps. So a cool idea is that I learned from someone else. It's to go to Reddit and type in alternative 2. There's also a subreddit called alternative 2, r/alternative 2. A Reddit example is that you can find threads complaining about HubSpot's pricing, right? So there's like solopreneurs or people who are single business owners, and they're like, oh, I don't want to pay like $800 a month for HubSpot. Neither do I, man. Well, so why don't you build one? Build a competitor, right? An X example, and sorry guys, verticalize it. So you are building HubSpot for solopreneurs. You see how you're not just building HubSpot again and copying it. You are building it to solve the specific use case of, I don't have much money or team or energy or anything. I need a tiny little CRM that works for me as a solopreneur, right? Job done. You've solved a problem for a specific person, and now you've been able to copy HubSpot and help a subsector of people that you care about, which is you typically. You are the plumber, or you are the solopreneur, or you are the horse rider or the golf player. You are solving something for you, but you are allowed to copy the entire setup of a different business. And it's not illegal. And it's not, someone's not going to knock on your door and shoot you in the face. You're allowed to do this because you are building a competitor to the tool, which being a competitor is completely fine, but you are building it for a subsector. Now, an X example is you can look up an X, alternative 2, or looking for a cheaper X, or looking for this, that, the other, looking for a cheaper Figma alternative, right? And the reason they might be looking for a cheaper Figma alternative is because Figma is expensive when you get team members involved. So you can target startups with a Figma Lite tool, right? The same thing applies to G2, which is a website, or Capterra. Go on these websites and go to the negative reviews of incumbent tools, guys, right? So an example is you go to Salesforce's reviews. Jesus, They are filled to the brim with people saying, this sucks ass, I hate this, I want to kill myself, because they're complaining about the clunky UI, the bloated features, how slow it is, how much it crashes. And you can build a modern CRM that solves the problems you found in the negative reviews of the incumbents, right? It's amazing. You can go straight into the heart and soul of a big incumbent and go, what do your customers hate about your product? And that's because people will leave honest reviews on these websites, right? And that's what Attio did. Attio saw that there were a lot of people that hated Salesforce and were like, we don't want to use this anymore. What can we use that's cooler, sexier, quicker, stronger, easier, to whatever it may be? And that's what they did. Notion capitalized on Evernote's issues by offering these customizable workspaces in a bit of a cooler feel, right? So basically Evernote was clunky, boring, it had lots of stuff on it, and it was hard for you to use as a team. So Notion were like, let's do it then, let's build something. Sometimes, guys, your differentiator, which I don't recommend, your differentiator can be that it just looks cooler, right? But you should aim for the improvement that provides more real value than just looking cool, like a tool that's lower price, for example. So, or better community, or simplicity, or speed, or better customer support, or whatever it may be, right? So to use the Nike example, we don't want to just make shoes that are cooler than Nike. The whole point is that we make shoes that are cooler than Nike, like that look cooler, but might be less expensive, that might be more affordable for people, for example, who live in poorer neighborhoods or things like that. You see how we are solving multiple problems in one, and we are eating alive the problems that they are running into. So with Salesforce, if you want to build a CRM, guys, which is very difficult, but you can do it these days, I'll teach you guys how to do these things in separate videos. You can do that, but just make sure it not only looks cooler, but it might be cheaper, for example, because you have to have a few different differentiators. Do you understand? So effectively, we're going to talk about now verticalizing horizontal SaaS. So when I talked earlier about the web scraper, and we said web scraper for marketing companies, for example, right? There's a gentleman called Peter Thiel who was part of the PayPal mafia, like a really, really eccentric, cool billionaire. And he argues about the monopoly theory, which is that you can thrive in small markets before expanding, guys, right? So this goes back to building a CRM for solopreneurs, or building an accounting software for lawyers, or building, a web scraper for marketers, that kind of thing, right? So vertical SaaS dominates a niche, and then it verticalizes further and gets the entire niche involved in that product and gets them to buy, right? So actionable step, ask AI for vertical ideas. So you can say to DeepSeek or Claude or ChatGPT, generate me 10 niche industries underserved by generic SaaS tools, right? And the output is construction project management for solar panel installers, right? So there's hundreds of project management tools, but you can build one specifically for solar panel installers that has all of the flavors in there and is specific to them and helps only them. You're not helping roofers, you're not helping plumbing companies, you are only helping solar panel installers, and that is your verticalized SaaS monopoly that you can build, right? An example is ZenMaid is a CRM for cleaning businesses. Guys, a CRM, there's thousands, like we said, right? But they built one just for cleaning businesses. I want to be able to schedule my cleaning jobs. I want to be able to track the revenue. I want to be able to bill my cleaning clients, right? And ZenMaid is worth millions of dollars, $10 million, right? Tens of millions. Service Titan is a field service software, millions of them, guys, thousands of them with millions of dollars in revenue and loads of funding and thousands of employees. Field software is not new, but they built it for HVAC companies, and then they expanded later on into other niches when they had revenue. That is as simple as that, guys. We are looking to build a verticalized version of an existing incumbent so that we can solve a problem for a specific market. In other words, build something that only a few people use, because it's preferred to be loved by 100 people who are paying you $99 a month, which is an amazing business, versus 10 million businesses not really giving a shit who you are or what you do. Remember, if we go to the solar panel installers example, how much easier is it going to be to say, oh, do you want to try Solar Flex, right? And they say, what's Solar Flex? It's a CRM designed for solar panel installers. Guys, the sale is going to be 100 times easier, isn't it? Because you're solving a problem for that person, you know? Now, both of these companies, Service Titan and ZenMaid, they thrive off the monopoly theory from Peter Thiel within verticalized markets. So in other words, they took something that already existed in thousands of tools, then made their company the tool for, right? So Pleo does this with accounting for lawyers, right? Pleo, man, like it helps you manage your finances. Millions of tools like that. You go on App Store, there's thousands, right? There's millions of tools like it. Xero, you've got QuickBooks, right? But they did it specifically for lawyers. And you can press certain buttons that only a lawyer would understand what it meant and things like that, right? So aside from a few industry-specific features that only lawyers would use, they basically cloned Xero and branded it towards lawyers. And you're allowed to do that, guys. It's amazing. You're allowed to do that, right? Do you see how this unlocks hundreds of multi-million-dollar ideas? Because if you can just take an existing tool and create one optimized for a specific industry, then you're golden. And the best part is there's companies within those niches that are already running into this problem. Like, do you think that lawyers don't struggle with finances? Of course they do. But maybe they feel underserved or ignored by these big companies, because when they say, oh, we're looking for a finance tool that helps us manage our accounts, can you help us? And Xero goes, yeah, sure, we can help everyone. No, they just want someone who can help them as lawyers. Do you understand what I mean, guys? So that's the exciting part. Excuse me. So Toast, a restaurant POS system. So in other words, all it means is that Toast is a software that helps you run your restaurant, right? They verticalize Square in a similar way that Pleo verticalized Xero by adding inventory management, loyalty programs for their restaurant and kitchen displays and things like that, menus, whatever it may be. Boom. $1 million company. By just taking an idea that already worked. They didn't have to copy anything. They didn't get into trouble. They didn't get any legal trouble. No one shot them. No one killed them. No one tracked them down and assassinated them. They were just like, oh, Square's doing this. Why don't we do it? But someone was like, well, why don't we do it for restaurants? So we have like a specific niche. Done. Idea. Massive idea. Now, the Pareto principle is about, effort versus results. So, 20% of the effort that you put in, gets 80% of the results, right? In this similar example, the top 1% of products capture 99% of the value. So in other words, you can improve the weakest 1% of a trending tool. So like I said earlier on, if Salesforce is bloated, make Salesforce less bloated and then stick on a specific industry. So you can say, we are a Salesforce alternative specifically for plumbers. And that's it. Like, it's something like that. I know that's off the top of my head. It's not like a bit of a dumb example, but that's what you can do. Now, more ideas, guys. Let's get more ideas in, right? So AppSumo reverse engineering. So you can steal from AppSumo and Product Hunt. So an example is find an email writer on AppSumo, right? So there should be a space there. Add a unique feature like brand voice cloning and then charge $49 a month for it. Done. Good night. Like AppSumo, there are companies on AppSumo that are making millions of dollars from these deals. People want their stuff. They're not being forced to buy the stuff on AppSumo, right? They are seeing the stuff and buying it themselves on their own free will because people are sentient and will do what they want, right? If you are seeing an AppSumo deal that has got 80,000 buyers in the last couple of weeks, then that idea or that tool is obviously useful to people. So take something that's already trending on something like AppSumo, and then you can add your own unique features to it, or you can make it specific to an industry by verticalizing it, guys. So you can reduce the price, you can increase the price. It doesn't matter, guys. You can just do something, right? Product Hunt filter by most requested upvotes or most upvoted of that week. And then an example would be a free SEO audit tool on Product Hunt with 500 upvotes. They didn't get forced to do that, man. They're upvoting it because they like it, right? So you can build a premium version of that helps people track their Google rankings or something like that, right? Because what people love for free might love for paid, right? As long as it's decent and gets the job done, right? So to repeat that, what people love that is free, some people will love that has to be paid for. So again, like there's plenty of things, right? We can find an example is that you can go on someone's YouTube channel and you can watch unlimited stuff, right? But if it says that if you want to subscribe to this, you get more stuff. Or an example is OF, right? Like you can find like content, as they say, online, but people pay, models and stuff for it, right? And it's like that stuff is abundant anyway, but people are paying because it's free and paid. Take an SEO audit tool, make it a paid product and make it better and cooler. And another thing is remember, you can charge for things that are typically free as long as it's a bit cooler or better, right? Canva copied DIY design tools, right? But they added templates and simplicity, dominating the 99% who found Adobe too complex, man. Adobe Photoshop and stuff is so bloated. So killing the complexity of Adobe is what made Canva a billion-dollar company. Again, you're attacking a gap in a large incumbent company's armor. What is their weakness and how can you solve it? And how you solve it, guys, by the way, or how you find it out, is you go on to Capterra and stuff, and you just you see what people are complaining about, and G2 and Twitter and Reddit. Now, cloning Y Combinator companies. So you can clone startups from Y Combinator, and you can do it very quickly. And this is from a philosophy called Crossing the Chasm, which is the fast follow strategy, right? So the philosophy is that Y Combinator is a startup incubator. So simply put, guys, Y Combinator looks at companies they think will go parabolic and do really well, and they might invest in small startups and help them become big. And they've helped build multiple billion-dollar companies this way. In Jeffrey Moore's Crossing the Chasm book, he argues that startups fail by ignoring pragmatists. In other words, you ignore what has happened before and then you repeat the same mistakes. Fast followers learn from pioneers' mistakes. So in other words, guys, learn from history. Learn what has already worked and then iterate on it, just like we talked about. YC companies are typically pioneers or they're seasoned startup founders. So they have pretty good ideas, guys, right? YC is hard to get into, and you need a good idea and a good plan and some early interest and some recognition in the space from Y Combinator. So a good strategy to get great startup ideas is by seeing what YC are investing in, because they are the sort of omnipotent, super intelligent group of people who are investing in tools and products and software companies they think are going to take off. So an actionable step is the YC batch analysis. So look up YC batch and you can go through all the lists from the dawn of time of companies that YC have invested in. And something like 70 to 80% these days of the YC batch startups are AI. Don't quote me on that, but they are AI driven companies that use ChatGPT or use Claude or use Perplexity, whatever it may be, right? So an example is YC might have funded in the last year a AI tool for contract review for, like Teams, right? So you can take this and build a cheaper version for the non-legal teams like freelancers or HR teams, right? So you see how, again, what are we doing, guys? We are taking an idea that we know is working and has traction. We are verticalizing it. And then we are adding some cool differentiators to that original product. So let's just start again. Go on YC. You see that there is a tool that helps legal teams review contracts. Okay, that has been funded. There's revenue, whatever it may be, right? That's cool. Let's build a cheaper version of that for people who want to review contracts who aren't legal professionals. So in other words, let's take the AI legal contract reviewer that's getting traction. Let's rebuild it ourselves with AI, because we can do that. And then let's just sell it to freelancers or something who's non-legal, plumbers or commercial real estate companies. You see how you can do anything you want, guys. And again, just go to AI and ask it for ideas, right, on how you can verticalize something. A copycat framework is to take a YC company's core feature, verticalize it like we talked about, and then 10x the user experience, or decrease the price, or improve the customer support, whatever it may be. So just like I said then, guys. Brex cloned Silicon Valley Bank's model, but added instant approvals and spend analytics, right? So corporate card startups were a dime a dozen. So Brex doubled down on a niche. They were fast followers. They knew from crossing the chasm, they knew what was already working, and they learned from the mistakes of competitors and previous companies. So pricing, business strategy, team, recruitment, customer support. Now, a cool idea, right? The unsexy edge cases. So Clayton Christensen's Jobs to Be Done. The philosophy says, and this changed my world, guys. This changed how I saw software. Customers hire products to do jobs, right? So just read that again. Customers hire products to do specific jobs. This is basically what a SaaS is, guys. It's a software as a service. If there was a software that could do your dishes, it would be a SaaS, because the service is doing the dishes and we are hiring it to do that service. And that obviously doesn't exist, right? Find jobs that incumbents ignore, and these are the edge cases. So for example, the Jobs to Be Done prompt is, what job does industry need done that tool fails at or doesn't deliver on? And again, this is why we need to, talk about, G2 and go on Capterra, because there'll be a law firm that comments on a time tracking tool and says, we're finding it hard to track our billable hours on this tool. Wow, software idea. A law firm is complaining that they can't use massive incumbent product to track their billable hours. Build a unified time tracker because X company doesn't provide this, or it does provide it, but it sucks. So just to be clear, guys, again, I know that's quite wordy. You can find a job to be done. So for example, plumbers need their invoices done, or roofers need their tax returns to be done, or freelancers need to find leads on Twitter, right? And you can find examples of the bad reviews of these larger companies and then verticalize it again. Now, mimesis, right? So Rene Girard, humans imitate desires. Copying isn't unethical, guys. It's human nature. So we've talked about getting ideas. I just want to drill in your minds that it's so important that you know this, right? So you are not going to make it in software if you aren't at least taking inspiration from working products, right? This is the simplest form of market analysis. Is there a market for my idea, right? You'll find that lots of indie hackers and micro SaaS startups, they don't model anything, guys. They try to build the next Uber for dog food or Airbnb for university students, and it fails miserably. There is no visible market, so it's very hard to create your own market. We are not geniuses, guys. Let's assume that the people watching this are not geniuses. You are guys and girls who want to create a software product from scratch and sell it to someone, right? We're not looking for the next Facebook. We are looking to give you financial freedom. We're looking to give you money. We're looking to give you, putting your kids through college, whatever it may be. We're not looking to make you trillions of dollars by being the next Amazon. We're looking to build a startup. It's okay to not be a genius, right? It's not okay to pursue garbage ideas because you're certain your dumb app that no one wants is the next big thing. Oh, it's kind of like it's kind of like Zoom, the video conferencing, but it's for like talking to your pets when they're. What are you doing, man? Who said they wanted that? Who said they wanted Uber for dog food? Who said they wanted the Airbnb for university students? Those problems are not there, man. They don't exist. and they haven't been solved. And we can assume that most problems in this day and age have been solved or are being solved. So look for companies that are making revenue, have a team, and already have things working. Now, The Adjacent Possible by Stephen Johnson. So innovation happens at the edges of existing ideas. So in other words, you can innovate and create the next big thing by iterating on something that already exists. This is what a lot of AI tools are doing. A simple app that has been around for ages, they copy them, then they add some AI element to it, like Attio. Attio saw that Salesforce is old, boring, slow, clunky. They built a Salesforce alternative and then they added AI. And now it's a multi-million-dollar company. And they're profiting. So, tools for execution. You can use DeepSeek to brainstorm the verticals you want to go into. So you can generate 10 software ideas for healthcare compliance companies. Or I want to help plumbers, or I want to help these, or I want to help that. You can go as deep as just saying, what should I build in 2025? And DeepSeek will give you some ideas. But make sure you say, what verticalized SaaS should I build in 2025? Because it'll give you examples, right? So in other words, you don't want to ask DeepSeek what to build. It'll be like, oh, build a CRM. Why, man? Like, don't build a CRM. Build a CRM for lawyers. Build a CRM for plumbers. Build a note-taking app for people in courtrooms. You see how these things need to be specified, right? There's a company called Gummy Search that you can find Reddit pain points on. So you can look up on Gummy Search like ideas for SaaS and it'll come up with all the ideas that people are talking about in threads. Get SEO, which is my tool. You can find leads based on keywords. So if you want to look up Salesforce, you'll find people talking about Salesforce and what they're complaining about on Reddit and Twitter. Tricomb is for later on when you want to sell the tool. Again, that's my company. Versal and Superbase is how you're going to deploy the clone. So you can use Notion. For example, you can go on Lovable or Bolt and say, build me a Notion clone for therapists. And it will start building it, guys. Now, my final word, as Sam Altman says, ideas are worth nothing, guys, unless executed. The goal isn't to reinvent the wheel. It's to build a faster, cheaper, or niche-specific wheel and then sell it to that industry. Stop chasing novelty like the Airbnb for fucking pet food. Start cloning big companies and then dominating by specializing. And that is the video, guys. Any problems at all, any questions you have, give me a shout, give me a comment, like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you soon.